Hello, everyone. Welcome to class today. My name is Carrie Cootie, and I will be with you for about the next 30 minutes or so, talking all about back to school, supernatural school year. How can we just do some things that will prepare us so that we can feel better about sending our kids back to school, and also us as adults and parents and even teachers, just trying to help with all the things, right? When we're kind of feeling stressed about all the things right now, I can feel it. I can feel it within our community, within the online space. There's just so much right now. So hopefully something I share today will help you with that. If you have any questions at all, now if you're on Facebook, I can't see you commenting, but I will definitely go back. And if you're on Instagram, I can see all your comments. So if you have questions, just please let me know. And so hopefully something I share today is going to be helpful. So, we're talking about back to school, but obviously the big thing is immunity and how do we boost our immune system and just protect ourselves a little bit more from what's going on and is being spread right now. So all the things that I'm going to share are really going to help with that. And I'll kind of try to tie it into how all of this really fits and goes together. But overall, I hope that you come away with this class just with a little bit more comfort in knowing that, okay, we can do what we can do, and we just have to leave the rest up because we're not in ultimate control. We can only control the things that, how we take care of ourselves, what we put in our body, we put on our body, all of those things, we can take control of them, that we should be diligent about those things, but we can't be fearful about the things that we can't control. So hopefully this class will help you just know that you're doing everything that you can, or maybe you can add some things on or take away whatever. Maybe you'll gather some information from that today. But a little bit about me, if you've never been on a live with me, of course, my name is Carrie. I am a wife, a mom, a Christian, I'm a pharmacist, I'm an integrative health practitioner. So, of course, as a mom, I am interested in these types of things for my own kids, my own self, and I just want to share that with you because I feel like the mission field is health, and I want to be able to help you guys with the same things that I'm going through and that what has worked for me, and so that's why I kind of wanted to come on here to share with you today. So, I definitely want to share a whole picture approach to our health and to sending our kids back to school and how can we help them and ourselves get in a good routine with things. So that's kind of what I'm going to be sharing today is how can we fit some of these things in our routine, and how can we just take a look at what we're already doing and tweak it. So first, I can't do this class without talking about diet for just a second, because literally that is the foundation for everything. And so, I just think, okay, we're coming off of summer and our kids are going back to school. So, they're in more of a routine, but they are at school. If your kids are school age, they're in school for, 7 or 8 hours. And so we really can't control what they get there. Of course, I send my kids lunches. Maybe you do as well. Like I can somewhat control that, but otherwise I can't. And so I'm sure they're going to get treats. I'm sure they're going to get those types of things. So the way that I try to look at it, I just try to let all that go and feed them the best food that I can at home and in their lunches. Now, sometimes their lunches come back uneaten, so there's that, but I can do what I can. So when we just think about diet, obviously we know that fruits and vegetables are what our body needs and what our kids' bodies need. But I understand picky eaters. I'm not going to go into all that. I just want to encourage you, like, what are the things that your kids already like to eat that you might get a higher quality of, whether that be a packaged food, or could you get an organic version without some of the pesticides, so that our immune systems can work better, so that we can have a little bit more focus, so that we can sleep a little bit better. All those things really play into part in all this. And I'm going to get to it in just a minute, but our inflammation level is absolutely key. At any time, really, we should always looking to be lowering that, but especially with the risk involved with contracting certain things, and what the studies have shown is it really all does come down to how much inflammation do you have in your body. And nobody's perfect, so we all have some level of this, but it really is how can we lower it. And so eating nutritious foods will lower it. Eating organic and not eating the pesticides on there will lower that, and it will increase our immune system right off the bat. And so if that's not something you've looked into, maybe you're already doing that, that's awesome. But do what you can to control those things, and maybe just look at decreasing the amount of sugar that you bring into the home so it's not readily available. So those types of things are really important. And this isn't a diet focused class, but I couldn't go without mentioning that. So that's one thing. Next, I want to talk about some of the different areas that we tend to think about when we go back to school. And, these are just some of the key things that we normally tend to focus on. So one is focus. Another one is stress, sleep, and immunity. So those are kind of the 4 things that I'm going to be giving you some tips in that you can do. Lifestyle things, of course, I'll include some oils, some supplements, and really the diet is overarching, that it will improve all of these things. So first, let's talk about focus. So this is something that, with kids in school, a lot of times it's just an issue that comes up, right? We want our kids to be able to focus better in school. Well, I will tell you that sleep plays a really big part in that. Are they getting adequate sleep at night? I'm not skipping ahead, but those two definitely go hand in hand. Diet can definitely go hand in hand with this as well. Increased sugar intake, the preservatives in food, the colors, the dyes and things in food can really affect focus. And so if your child or yourself even struggles with that, just think about the foods that you're consuming and just try to do a little bit better each week when you go to the grocery store, instead of thinking, gosh, I do terrible in this area and I just feel like I can't make any progress. Just try to look for alternatives. So what you already like, and just start there. Just start with small things, but that's really going to make a difference. Also with focus, I want you to consider something that a lot of us are deficient in, which is omegas. And omegas really can play a part in focus. And so our brain runs off fats primarily. And so if you are deficient in omegas, your brain is not going to be able to function at the highest level that it should be able to. Focus, brain fog, ADD, even anxiety, some of those things can be linked to omega deficiency. And to me, that's sort of an easy fix. You can get more of that through your diet with things like avocado and nuts and salmon and sardines, but maybe your kids might not like those things, or you might not either. And honestly, you have to eat a lot of those to get what you need. And so I often find I'll eat some of those foods. Of course, I love to get what I need through my diet, but I also feel like I need to supplement because I don't get everything that I need every day. And so you might want to consider that, especially for your kids if they do struggle with focus, is getting them an omega supplement. Now, my kids use doTERRA's omega supplement. My daughter uses the capsule version, and then my son uses the liquid. But there are other high quality omegas that they can fit into their daily routine. And so we just take that in the morning, we get it out of the way. I like to just go ahead and check that box. So you have to figure out how you can fit that into your routine. But I feel like that's kind of a big one that a lot of people miss. One other thing that I want to mention here is PB Assist, the probiotic, a kid's probiotic, let's say. That's the one my kids use, but whatever probiotic you use, keep on using it because it really does help with focus. Try to get a higher quality one. If you just pick up one from the drugstore, you might want to think about picking up a higher quality one because not all probiotics are made equally. And so that's one thing, the gut-brain connection is a very real thing. So increasing gut health, which that's really one of the ways that you can start pretty easily, is just incorporate a probiotic in there. Now, before I move on from focus, I don't want to leave off oils you can use to help. And oils are not going to be a savior really in any of these areas. They're really just an augmentation that you can use. They're one more tool that you can use, but they're a very effective tool, but it's not going to be a silver bullet because there really isn't one. It's kind of all of these things combined. So one oil that is great for focus is Intune. That is called the Focus Blend. That is, it can be used for adults or kids, but now that they've come out with a kids line, the Thinker blend is part of that kids line. And so I kind of think, all right, well, if your child struggles with focus, I would probably start with Thinker first, and then you can move on to Intune. But I love both of them. They both work really well. I probably would choose Intune for myself, and I probably would choose it for an adult first, but either one of those would be great. All right, and there's so much I could say in each one of these categories, but I'm trying to keep this class to about 30 minutes. But please ask questions if you have them. I'd love to answer. Okay, let's move on to sleep. And sleep, to me, they really kind of call me the sleep police at my house because I'm always like, all right, kids, it's time for bed. And they're like, we're not tired. And they will literally sit there and argue with me. So if you're that in your home, I just want to give you a hug because I feel you. But honestly, I don't want to be a nag, but sleep is so important. And if we overlook that and if we don't put it as a priority, it can so easily get pushed to the side and it not made a priority, and the kids just get in bed whenever they get in the bed. And obviously there's like a deadline. They have to get up in the morning to go to school. And so I just try to make sure they get 10 to 11, I was thinking about adults, 10 to 11 hours of sleep at night. It's really important for kids. And so how can we facilitate that? I was actually just talking to another mom about this yesterday, about how they have gotten into the routine of dinner, bath, and bed. And that routine has really just helped their kids be able to wind down better. They know what's coming. They don't necessarily fight it as much. And so I would encourage you to just work out whatever routine is best for you and your family, to where the kids know what to expect each night. And it's the same each night. And, you might be thinking, well, I have older kids. Does this really matter? I mean, sleep still really does matter for kids, of course, and adults. But sometimes it's harder to put ourselves in a routine. But I'm going to say you need to mother yourself on this a little bit better. And we just need to turn off the TV and read a book and just make it easier for your body to fall asleep. Don't fight it. If you're tired at 8:30, go to bed. There's no reason to fight that. And a lot of times our body will tell us what it needs. And if it needs more sleep, then we definitely need to give it that. But sleep is definitely a priority. It needs to be. And so getting into that routine, I love doing an Epsom salt bath for my kids and even myself, more so probably in the winter months. I will, because it's kind of hot outside right now, but of course they take baths every day. And so I'll add Epsom salt, and sometimes I'll put lavender or some other kind of calming oil in there. So it just kind of helps their body get ready for that good sleep. But other things you can do for sleep if they really struggle with sleep, of course, doing the bath with Epsom salt will help. If you have a diffuser, you can diffuse something like lavender or serenity or some kind of calming oil to help kind of set the mood for sleep in their room. I would put that on about 30 minutes before you want them to go to bed. And if you're in there reading a book, it's just perfect because they're breathing that in and it's kind of just helping their body wind down. You can also put it on the bottoms of their feet, and even on the temples or the back of their neck, behind their ears. Any of those places are fine to put oils. And I kind of like to sometimes put it up closer to their nose so they can actually smell it. Of course, they get it from the diffuser too, but it just kind of enhances the experience. But that is one thing that you can do to help them wind down. And I love helping my kids pick which oil they want and which one that is their favorite. And so that's just something that adds to the connection as well when you're putting them to bed. So that's a little bit on sleep. Also, I will say if kids or you even struggle going to sleep, if you can get in a routine, your body will get used to that and it'll be much easier to go to bed early. I know that sometimes even I'm sort of an early to bed type of person. I feel like I'm a baby grandma, but nonetheless, I know sleep's important, but I'm like tired by 9:30 at night. And so sometimes it's easier for me to go to sleep than others. So sometimes I'm not as sleepy, but if I go ahead and wake up earlier, I'll be more tired the next night. Like I can just set the routine that way. And so I think you'll find that for yourself or your children, if you just set a routine, that they'll fall into it and it'll work itself out in 2 or 3 days for sure. So that's sleep and a little bit about focus, of course. Those two are very key. Now let's kind of move into stress. And this is something that, deep breath, I feel like everybody's feeling more stressed than, I don't know about last year, but in the last few years, I just feel like it keeps mounting. And it's unfortunate, I know we feel it as adults, but I think our kids can definitely sense that as well. And even maybe if they're just getting older, and their schoolwork is getting a little bit more tough. Like my daughter, she had definitely some stress and anxiety last year with third grade. It just got a little bit harder, and just with all the tests that they have to take, she almost got test anxiety. She would just get nervous before every test. And so it's already starting, even though I haven't really started a test yet, she's already thinking about it. And so I just think it's important that we support our body and of course support them in that. And I just find that a lot of times helping with stress is just simply writing it down or talking about it. And that might seem like really elementary, but sometimes we just keep it all in. And I feel like it's really important to maybe your child, for instance, Maybe your child opens up at night. And that's kind of my daughter. I'll try to ask her about things during the day, and she doesn't really want to talk about anything. But then at night, when it's time to go to bed, and of course, like here I am, like bedtime police, and she's like wanting to talk, and I'm like, it's time to go to bed. But I just have to remember it's important for her to get that out, and it's important for our kids, and it's important for us too. And so take time with your kids, no matter if it's convenient or inconvenient, to listen, because I feel like it's important that they know that we are listening, and that's just a time that you can bond. And there's just so many good things that happen there. And I'm really talking to myself more than I'm talking to you probably, but I just have to remember this too. And while we're talking, myself and my daughter, I'll often put some oil on her because I have it right there at her bedside. So I have peace, or I have adaptive or lavender, or whatever you might have that's kind of calming. And it's just a great moment to connect. And I think that's what's so great about incorporating some oils into your routine is they really do help you to connect, whether it's you connect more with other people, or to our source of power, which is the Lord. I just feel like it always helps me connect more and be more present in the moment. So that's just a little bit about stress and kids. Now, of course, if, I really like to support my kids' immune system and stress in the morning and in the evening. Those are some things that they're just kind of going to deal with, right? Especially we want to boost their immune system, and that's kind of coming up next. But stress, we want to minimize that as much as we can. And some might need more support than others. But a few blends that I really like to use for stress, one would definitely be adaptive. It's probably my go-to for stress for myself. And my kids, they love it as well. Balance is another one. You can also use peace. I think about that one more at night because it has the vetiver in it, and that's very, very calming and helps with sleep. But you can definitely use that during the day. So those are just three. I'm just going to give you three. I could give you a lot more, but those really help with stress. Now, a few more that are great to help temper the stress response in our body, because here's the thing. Remember, I mentioned inflammation is really, really key when you think of this. If you were to get sick or just trying not to contract something, your inflammation levels really play a big part in that, of how severe something is, or, inflammation weakens your immune system. So if you have a high level of inflammation, then your immune system is not going to be as strong. And so tempering the immune system, tempering your inflammation level is going to be important. So copaiba essential oil is one that really helps to temper that response in your body. It helps to temper the stress response, which lowers inflammation, which again will help with overall feeling more calm, but it'll also help with your immune system as well. So Katie asks, is calmer the best option for peaceful sleep for kids? I often find that you just have to experiment with that. That would be a really great one to start with, especially if you have a young, maybe baby infant or 1-year-old, let's say, because the kids line is more heavily diluted and it's made for kids. Now, of course, you can use any oil and dilute it on any age. You just have to, dilute it more for younger, of course. But calmer is a great one. I kind of think calmer is like the kids' version of Serenity, which is one of my favorite blends for sleep. So you could definitely try that one. See how it does. If you have an older child, they might just need maybe that blend isn't, everybody's different. So it might not be the best and work the best for them. There are so many more that you could try, or it might need to be a little bit stronger, or you might need to use more, if that makes sense. So you could definitely try that one. If that one didn't do what you wanted it to do, you could try Serenity. You could try vetiver by itself, or you could try lavender by itself, but you just have to kind of experiment with that. But those are good places to start. So stress, make sure I got everything on that one. One more I wanted to mention on stress is turmeric. So turmeric is really great for tempering the stress response as well. It also helps with a lot of other things. So I'm not going to get into all that because I have about 10 minutes left in this class and I want to get to the immunity part. But turmeric is something that probably more as an adult, I don't really give it to my kids, but as an adult, I do take turmeric daily. We've heard a lot about turmeric. Turmeric helps with the stress response. It also helps with blood sugar, with decreasing inflammation, with pain. It can help increase your immune system because it decreases all those other things. So that's just one that I think of when I think of stress on the body. Okay, I could talk a lot about that subject, but let's move on to your immune system. That is probably the question I get asked the most these days. What are you doing as your kids are going back to school and all that kind of stuff? And I will say that I'm not going to cover every single thing I want in here, just because I'm trying to keep it relatively basic, because I know we all have different levels that we're at. But I want to write a blog post / email more extensive about what I'm doing kind of preventatively. But then if myself or any of my family members get sick, then what do we do? Because then it's kind of like, well, you need to step it up a notch, right? So I'm definitely going to come out with that information, and it will be more extensive. So if you want that, just stay tuned. I'll be sure to let you guys know where that's at. So you can check it out. But let's talk about immune system. All the things that I mentioned, if you work on decreasing your stress, if you work on getting really good sleep, if you're doing the things I mentioned for focus, all of that is going to help increase your immune system. And our immune system is made to fight things off. It's made to do a job. And we just need to support it in helping it to do what it was meant to do. And there's nothing wrong with our immune system, right? It's just the lifestyle that we live and the ways in which we don't help support it and allow it to do what it's meant to do. That's when things can go in the wrong direction. It doesn't work like we want it to, but we're really supporting it like we should have. That's kind of a question we all have to ask ourselves. And we just live in a world where we kind of have to fight more against that, just in general. And so that's not a bad thing. I think it's just a reality. And so I'm going to give you a few ideas. Now, I mentioned diet is an absolutely huge. You can't overcome a bad diet with just, you could use all the supplements and all the oils, and it's just not going to be enough, right? You're fighting a losing battle. And so if I was going to be, thinking about increasing my immune system, I would definitely look at my diet first. So I always want to go back to that, because I never want you to think that I'm saying use one thing or use this as a silver bullet. It's just not. So there are things that we can do. So there's diet, of course. There is stress management. That's going to be a huge help to your immune system. The routine that I mentioned of just trying to wake up and go to bed at the same time, trying to wind down, in the evenings, and decrease that stress before you go to bed. All those things help your body to be able to renew better at night. The sleep is really important for your immune system, but it also just helps your body to know what to expect, which then increases your immune system as well. Because if you think about it, so much energy is spent digesting food, dealing with stressors, all the things that we have going on during the day. Our immune system gets put on the back burner. So sleep is very important in that way. And of course, trying to manage that stress during the day is important as well. But here's some things that we can help our immune system with. One of those is oils. And if you think about immunity, you think about oils, you're probably going to think about On Guard. It's definitely up there as far as having in your arsenal to use for boosting your immune system. So here are just a few ways that you can use that oil. You can diffuse it, helping to just kill any germs in the air and just freshen the air. So that's one way that you can use. And anytime we breathe in oil in, we do get some of the benefits, of course. So you can definitely diffuse it. You can put it on topically, which is what I probably would do with my kids on a preventative basis, let's say. So in the morning and at night, I do something for immune support. I'm going to get to the other oils that might be good to kind of swap out with On Guard, because here's the thing. Just like you want to vary your diet, you want to vary the oils that you use, because your body's going to be more responsive to them. So, and you're going to get different benefits from different oils. And so I would definitely not only use On Guard, I just use it in combination with other ones. So using it morning and night is great. Putting it in a roller bottle, rolling on the back of the back of the spine, up and down your spine, and on the bottom of your feet. So that's one way that you can use, or another way that you can use it. And then of course, internally, you can use On Guard internally. So I would probably use On Guard this way as an adult. Now, I will say, if, for instance, we've been around somebody that's sick, or somebody in our house is sick, or we just need to kind of up what we're doing and need to be stronger, I will give my kids On Guard internally. And so there's a couple of different ways that I do that. So they make On Guard beadlets, and that is just simply 1/4 of a drop of On Guard in a tiny, tiny little beadlet. I would say probably 2 years old and up could use one of those. It's a very, very small amount, and your body runs through oils very quickly. So that would be something that I would feel good about recommending to you guys. And so you can put that in a little bit of applesauce, or a lot of times they'll just swallow it with water. It's really, really, really tiny. So that's one way you can use On Guard internally with your kids. And then another way is On Guard plus soft gels. And this is On Guard plus oregano, melissa, and black pepper. And those oils are very, very high in antioxidant capacity, which means they really boost the immune system. And it's really a step up from just using On Guard. So I'll use those. My husband uses those. My daughter, who is 9, will take one. And my son, who is 6, I will give him one of those every now and then. I don't give them to him as much as I take them. So that is something, though, that they can take. I would say probably 5 to 6 and up. They could take one, once or twice a week, let's say. So that is a little bit about On Guard, which is kind of, we think of it as the key, immune oil. Now, that's ways that you can use it on your body. Now, there are other ways that you can use it in your home and when you're out and about. There's a hand spray, a hand sanitizer. There is a counter spray. There is hand soap. There's hand wipes. There's a lot of different ways that you could use On Guard. And they actually have a back to school collection that's a great value. If you are already their Terra customer, you can just add that to your order. Or if you're not, I'm going to tell you a few different ways you can get started, and that'll be one of them. So that's a little bit about On Guard. Other oils that are great for your immune system. Frankincense is excellent for your immune system. It's also really going to help decrease your inflammation levels. And I'm going to give you a blend that kind of encompasses some of these together that might be a great blend for you to just make up and use, every day if you want to. So frankincense is another one. One other one that I'll mention that is really good is DDR Prime. It is called the Cellular Blend, and I really like to use it, again, in a roller bottle, or as an adult, I can take it in a soft gel, and I do that every night. It's excellent for your immune system. It just keeps your cells healthy. And the thing is, with damaged cells, that creates inflammation, which sets you up to be a great host. If you have more damaged cells, your body is not able to clear those out. You just constantly have that, and your cells are getting broken down, because that's what, when you contract a certain thing that's going around rampantly right now, it attacks your cells and it breaks them down. And so if you already have that issue, it's just going to be a little bit more severe, possibly, if you do contract that. And so these are ways that we can keep our cells healthy, ways that we can keep the inflammation down are going to be absolutely key. And that's what I'm focusing on, and I would encourage you to do as well. So that's just another great blend if you haven't heard of that one. It's not necessarily a common one that you might have heard of, so I wanted to mention that. But there will be more that I'll mention in the blog post and the email that I'm going to send out next week, all about a protocol, and it'll be extensive. And so I want to give you all the goods, right? Just so you can be armed with what you need when you need it. So that's a little bit about immune system. I've got just a few minutes, and I'm gonna keep this at 30 minutes, but I want you to not get overwhelmed with all this information. Say you're new, if you've never used essential oils, you're just kind of thinking, well, I don't do a lot of these things. Again, I want you to start somewhere that would be easy for you. Whether that's just making a few different changes of more fresh food at the grocery store, whether that's just getting to bed 30 minutes earlier, whether that might be just taking some time out for yourself during the day and kind of breaking up that stress pattern throughout the day. Whatever it is, anything that I've mentioned, just take a small step in that direction. Don't get overwhelmed with everything that you could be doing, but just focus on little ways that you can do things, and especially free. A lot of those ways were absolutely free, that you can help support your body and going back to school and getting back around people and all the things. So I wanted to let you know that I'm going to add this to a blog post on my website, and I will include some of the links and things that I've mentioned in here. And so that'll be saved there in case you want to refer back to it, or if you want to share it with somebody, I would love that. But I want to take a minute at the end also to just let you know, if you are not a current doTERRA customer, how you can get started. What are the best ways for you to get started? One would be that back to school kit. I love adding that to, like I said, your existing order, or if you're a new member, you can get started with that. Another great way is the Home Essentials kit. It really has a lot of the oils that I mentioned in that kit, and it will be a really great way for you to work on a lot of these areas in that one little collection. Now, I just thought of one more thing before I hop off, is that blend that I told you about that would really help with immunity and all these other things. So let me give it to you. It is 5 oils, and it's On Guard, oregano, tea tree or melaleuca, lemon, and frankincense. So you could use 5 drops of each of those oils in a roller bottle. Fill it up the rest of the way with your carrier oil, which is probably coconut oil. And you can do that on the back of your spine, you know, up down your spine, on the bottoms of your feet, for yourself or your kids every single day. And it helps decrease inflammation. It can help with sleep as well. And it can also, of course, boost your immune system. So that just be an easy way to do that. And all those oils come in that basic little starter collection that I mentioned. And most people have those oils if they've gotten started. So I wanted to include ones that you probably would have. All right, guys. Yay, I did it in 30 minutes. Thank you so much for being on with me. And if you're watching this recording and you have a question, my DM private message is always open, and I love to help however I can. I will respond to all of your messages. So make sure to message me if you have any questions, any way I can help. And share this video if you think somebody might enjoy this information or needs this information. I really just want everybody to not live in fear and really just know that our bodies were made to be resilient. We just have to make sure that we are diligent in helping to do the things that we can and helping it out, right? A lot of times we fight against what it's trying to do. So, all righty, we all have a great day, a great school year. Thank you for being with me again, and I'll see you all later. Bye, everyone.